Is in the name of Deputy Willie Penrose, who wishes to discuss the minimum entry requirements introduced from 2019 for entry to primary initial teaching programmes.
Thank you, Concora, for selecting this important issue for discussion in the Dáil this evening. And I am glad that Minister Mitchell O'Connor is here, who I know is extremely familiar with the import of this situation, and I have no doubt she is eager to resolve it in a positive way, which is a very invidious situation for a large cohort of young graduates and indeed undergraduates who are in college right now. This important issue has been boiling along for the last number of weeks, and it concerns a serious matter issue which has been brought to my attention, and indeed my colleagues' attention, Deputy Sherlock and Deputy Brendan Ryan, who have been making representation about it over the past month or so, and which I have no doubt a number of other members have also been alerted to the grave unfairness and indeed injustice that has been perpetrated upon students who completed their Leaving Cert prior to September-October 2017, when the changes to the minimum entry grades for Irish, English and Maths for entry to primary initial teacher education programmes was introduced. And as I said, my colleagues have been making strong representation in relation to this issue. Like Deputies Ryan and Sherlock, I have no problem, Minister, with you or your department officials raising or increasing the minimum entry requirements in the core subjects areas of Irish, English and mathematics, and to implement these requirements as policy objectives to help ensure quality teaching and learning in primary schools. And I am aware these proposals emanate from the 2011 Literacy and Numeracy Strategy and subsequent reviews thereto, and the Teaching Council also had an input into it. But whilst the changes in the minimum entry requirements take effect from 2019, that is consistent insofar as it goes for students who entered the Leaving Cert cycle generally 2 years ago in 2017. And they were in fact aware of the changes in the entry requirements in 2017, so when they graduate next year, they can't say they weren't aware. So this is why, this is a specific cohort what happens. But what happens to the many students who entered degree courses from, say, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18, and who wish to enter their postgraduate Master of Education in Primary Education, which is a postgraduate qualification, who therefore have completed their undergraduate degree, maybe some years before applying, say completed in 2016 or 2017. They clearly had completed their Leaving Cert maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, and had been assured by their guidance teachers, I know this for a fact, that the C3 would qualify, or the C2, sometimes the C2 was going to C1 or C3 is going to C2 or whatever. And now, Minister, I'm not saying you, but the officials have moved the goalpost and deprived them of their ability to apply for the Master's Education qualification now, at a very time when we need teachers, when we're all cringing and crying that they're going to Dubai. You'll drive them off altogether. The Concora will have to go over there again to try and get an ass or something to bring them all back. And the way we're doing is we're driving them out of the country. And so, that's the thing. What happens then? They have the necessary minimum requirement acquired to Leaving Cert those few years ago to get the Master's for Education degree. They had a legitimate expectation, which is a European legal principle, that they would qualify for participation, because they had everything that was required to get on the course at that time. And what it will all mean is that in order to acquire the new minimum requirements, this cohort of students who have a degree, and listen to me, like ask Concora, I know you are Irish, very fluent, to which and fair play, but they now have primary degrees and have GHM, and they'll have to go on to study the Leaving Cert again. Talk about Hobbes' law. And the thing about it is, Minister, somebody could have a 1-1 or a 2-1, and what you're saying to them is no good, just because Irish. And let's be clear, Minister, I have only a bit of Irish, nothing like like Concora, but there's damn all difference between C3 and C2. It's semantic. It's semantic. What we need to do is get the Irish language, and we want to certainly propagate and make sure it comes, but C3 to C2, and we're depriving a huge cohort of students. This has to stop. There's an injustice, there's a legal case around the corner, and the officials must change it because they're fully aware of it. I have made them fully aware of it, and I think they're decent, reasonable officials, and they're thinking, oh, how do we open a Pandora's box? You don't open a Pandora's box. There's a defined nucleated cohort group of students that are affected, and we must redress this immediately. And I think, Minister, you have a lot of, you know more about primary education than I ever know, and I think you know exactly how to resolve this.
Minister Mitchell O'Connor, you're very welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much, and thanks, Deputy Penrose. And you're not the only TD, and I know with your colleagues I've received the same queries myself. And just to say to you, and I'm someone that was also in the United Arab Emirates and did meet a number of our teachers there. There's over 3,000 there. And the one message that I got from there was the huge respect for Irish teachers abroad, something that in often cases we don't see here in Ireland. And I just want to put that on the record, the massive respect for the quality of our Irish teachers teaching abroad. And I know at one stage, Deputy Penrose, one person that was running a school ran over to me, really proud of herself, telling me that she was going to employ all Irish teachers. And I have to say my face dropped because I know of the lack of teachers in the system, but still, that's how good they are. And look, I also am very cognizant of how important it is to have a teacher at the top of that classroom and with the children, you know, and able to deliver quality teaching and quality learning in the classroom. So, just going back to the question you asked me, and I know you know all the details, but it does show the changes were identified. We did come up with a literacy and numeracy strategy, and actually that was by your own Minister Rory Quinn. And again, I want to pay tribute to what he did there, because actually now our standards in literacy have gone right up, and we're one of the best in Europe in English reading and in mathematics. But back to the point. So many of the issues have been identified. You know, the officials feel that they're very complicated and complex. The Teaching Council provided advice. They commissioned an Economic and Social Research Institute to carry out research on its behalf to inform deliberations around what grades that students should have in their Leaving Cert. So it's now a H4 for English, and Maths is now a H7 or an O4, and that's the new grading system. So the changes also had regard to the Department's 2015 policy supporting a better transition from second level to higher education. The changes were announced, Deputy, in October 2017 to take effect for entrance to primary ITE programmes from 2019 onwards. This was to ensure account was taken of students who had already commenced the senior cycle and would be sitting the Leaving Certificate in 2018. However, to exempt all students who have a degree from meeting the new requirements, it seems to be suggested that you would take away any benefit from the changes. In practical terms, it would mean that from years now, people who had met the old entry requirement could apply for the PME, or the Postmasters in Education, alongside those who would have to meet the new requirements. It would also mean a difference straight away between the standard for students on the postgraduate route and those who have just done the Leaving Certificate and are starting an undergraduate teaching degree. I know, I appreciate, and on behalf of the Department of Education, I appreciate the Deputy's concern regarding students who had planned to do the Professional Masters of Education for primary and who no longer meet the minimum entry requirements, and I have past pupils in that category myself. The Department has received a number of submissions in this regard, and Deputy, I think this is important. They are currently under consideration to see if a solution can be found for the students most impacted.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
Deputy Penrose.
Thank you, Minister. You do understand it very well, the details of the issue, but the change is not a trivial or a small one. And for this quarter, it represents a huge setback, causing great stress, anxiety and upset to these students. And I think, Minister, you will agree it's nothing to be proud of to cause upset to students. And I think you can achieve the objective by ensuring that the minimum requirements will only apply prospectively. From 2017, you announced that from that date, every Leaving Cert student knew what they had to meet. So no problem. And look, this is the glib department answer. It doesn't pass legal muster. I can tell you that. Because the point about it is, those students were assured that the C3, for example, we use that one, was adequate. They went in and did their undergraduate degree on that basis, that when they got it, that they had the C3 along with their music degree or arts degree, whatever, to move on. And now the department unilaterally changes the goalpost. That is not right in law. On European law, this falls. So your officials better get off their butts and make sure that this is done immediately. We need the students to be notified in January or February, so they can start their course and go into the master's degree, education degree in September. So I mean, it's not. They're making it out that somebody that qualified at Calcora, this is the import of this answer. That somebody that qualified in 2011 had come along in 2021 and apply for the Master of Education. Those guys are probably out and by or wherever they are, and they're married and they're settled down. The last thing they're worried about is the Master of Education. And for Minister, to add insult to injury, and I got this in the reply, and I want to send this back to the officials. How dare they say that there's something else, that there's something up on the website that can take the place of the Leaving Certificate grade? Do you think that we come up the River Liffey in a banana boat with a goose pulling us? with stuff like that? That is nonsense. That is nonsense. In other words, we have done the primary degree, you have achieved 1-1 or 2-1, and then you can buzz off to some test and try and get to C2 or C1 in Irish, whatever is required. That is typical gobbledygook, bureaucratic reply that I resent. And I want them to solve this problem, because otherwise, Minister, let's be clear, we will see them in court.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. To conclude, please.
Look, and I'm going to go back to nearly the last sentence I said to you, Deputy Penrose. The Department has received the submissions and they are currently under consideration. And I expect a further update from officials in January, which I will share with you, Deputy, and the other deputies.